Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Wednesday, July 5th. It is the first official full U.S. trading session of Q2 in the month of July. Monday was a half day, and yesterday was off for the 4th of July. So happy 4th to all of our American watchers and listeners. Hope you had a very safe extended weekend. Trading is now back, and of course the quarter and month have both started, so things should heat up. And we're looking at DXY now. We'll talk about equities and crypto. Crypto obviously had a dump last night, equities a little bit as well, but equities clawed back, and we'll have to see how that holds because DXY is moving higher. And if you remember, we've kind of been stuck in this little range. Told the TTC community today, break above 103.1 and probably end up heading to this 103.6, 103.5 area. And we know that if it heads up to this area, risk assets are probably taking a hit. They obviously already did take a hit. So, if this is a slow grind, maybe they have a flat recovery. But if we do end up making it to 103.6 and breaking higher, I think at this level right here is where you would see risk really start to take a beating. If we end up closing, below the 103.1 level, then we'll probably end up heading back to the 102.5 area. And if we end up heading back here, I would expect risk to gain the benefit. So CJ and Monty, two of our new analysts at TTC, did a video on DXY versus Bitcoin versus equities. We actually sent that out by email to everybody. So definitely recommend watching that as they cover this relationship a little bit more closely. But looking at equities, we can see, bit of a better story to be told. So, DXY slowly inching higher. Equities dropped all the way to, what was that number? 44.66 last night. We jumped up to the previous daily close and then obviously are now rejected. So if we end up dropping below this level right here, 44.80, you are going to end up dropping down to 44.50. If you could hold this 44.80 number, you're going to jump back up to the 44.92, which you need to break to then end up heading back towards the 45.11 number. So get above previous daily close, move higher, close below the low from Monday. You'll definitely end up at least tagging this number. I would say likely 44.50 as well. So looking at Bitcoin, let's zoom out to the 1 hour here, get a bit better review. So moral of the story for TTC community today was close above 30.4, I should say, move up to 30.5, close above 30.5, move up to 30.8. And of course, if you do get rejected at 30.5, you'll move back down. So get rejected right here, move back down to these lows, which is about 30.2. Get above 30.5, move up to 30.8, get rejected up here, and then move back down to 30.5. So we basically know 30.5, 30.8 are going to be support resistance levels possibly. And we know that 30.4 is the first kind of level that needs to break, which it looks like it is right now. And then if we do get rejected, obviously the recent low is obviously the first target. Break below the recent low, 30.2. You'll head down to 29.8. And we do have this low all the way down here from last week. So that is something to be mindful of. A lot of times price will end up sweeping its previous week's low. This swept this low. And so, if we get rejected off 30.5 or we get rejected off 30.8, we'll have to keep an eye on this low because typically it ends up getting swept as we can see here through, different weeks price action. So something to monitor there. It doesn't mean it will happen, but something to be aware of, if the shorts come back into play off of a 30.5 or 30.8 rejection. But in my opinion, above 30.4, I'm targeting 30.5. I actually, do have a long right now, and above 30.5 may add a little bit to that long for a target to 30.8. So currently what we're looking at right there. Let's zoom out to the 1 hour for ETH. Told the TTC community Busting below, 1900 would probably send us back to 1860, but, always to be cognizant of the recent lows. If the recent lows hold as they did, they dropped here at, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. my time, then dropped back again at 8 a.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. my time. So we swept that low and then obviously trying to grind higher. So this low will be in play. So be mindful of it if you are shorting. Above 1912, we will get back to 1930 if we close above 1912. And obviously, holding this 1900 level, sent us back up to this 1912 level. So that trade mostly complete. But if you're above 1912, head to 1930. And then this is where we could possibly see rejection back down to 1900. We could also see rejection back down to 1900 at 1912. So above 1912, good things. Rejected at 1912, more bad things. And then if we get up to 1930, accept and go above, you're heading, all the way up here likely. And then a rejection is going to send you back down to 1900. And if we break below these lows right here, we'll likely head back down to the 1860 level. But I will note that we do have the previous week's VWAP right here, which coincides with this low right here. So if we do end up dropping below this 1894 number, do watch out for a possible catch or more volatility around this 1880, 1885 number, because you could see some volatility there, maybe a quick buyback to 1900 before a dump. So, just something to be mindful of there because price action was previously there. So the other things to be mindful of this week, we do have FOMC minutes today. So, of course, we already really know what Jerome Powell's indication was, but, that kind of 1 to 2 interest rate hike language has been, definitely causing some indigestion in the market, I would say. So if that is further solidified in the Fed minutes, then that could likely, induce another, downside price action event. So, if they're hardlining further hikes or displeasure with inflation data, that's going to show up in these minutes. And it could, have a pretty bearish effect as markets close. We, of course, still do have unemployment rate or unemployment data at the end of this week. Remember, Fed's dual mandate, inflation, unemployment. So, we got inflation data last week was, not the best. So if inflation or if an unemployment data is continuing to drop, look, 3.7 last month, 3.6% predicted this month. If that is the case, then markets may further negatively react because obviously the Fed may have more work to do or may continue with hawkish language. So also something to monitor there. We do have preliminary ADP employment data. So whatever that number is tomorrow morning will be the first kind of indicator for unemployment data. So if this is a miss, then, if it's a beat, then it'll be bearish. If it's a miss, then it'll be bullish because, right now it's predicted 220K from 278 previously. So that's lower than previous, right? 220 is lower than 278. So if it's higher than 220, that means there's more jobs added, which is bad for the markets. And if there's less jobs added, lower than 220, then it's good for markets. So, this will be an early indication of what we get on Friday. Doesn't always, this is not always an early indication, but markets will definitely be looking at it as one heading into tomorrow. So I would say equities definitely don't look, very bullish right here. But again, we still have this number and really anything can happen. This is a nice little sweep right here. If it does hold this line, I'll just go ahead and draw this line because I think it's actually a good line right here. So if, it's a nice little sweep right here. So get above, hold it, move higher, break it, move lower. Same thing with Bitcoin, need to get above that 30.5 level, obviously stalling a little bit here. And we do have Fed minutes in about an hour. So, a bit of a risky trade that I'm in right now. I may step out of it early, depending on what the early indication around the Fed minutes are. But, we're going to play, just to give you a little bit of indication, anytime hourly RSI, in my opinion, gets, oversold, especially on a bullish trajectory. We also made a higher low here, equal low here. We've just been kind of moving up for the most part, even though we do have these equal highs. So considering we haven't made a lower low yet, and we were oversold, some decent price action here. Price got above 30.4. It's a long in my book, but doesn't mean it will hold up. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But anytime we get an oversold RSI, I'm usually going to start paying attention, especially if the market structure has not been broken. And when we talk about market structure, we're talking about equal lows here. So the lows held, and then we're making higher lows. And we do kind of have a higher high in this area with an equal high. So the market structure is not perfect, but we have not made lower lows yet, and we have equal highs still. So I will continue to lean a little bit bullish at the lows for right now. And my favorite little indicator right here, just kind of, it's an imperfect indicator, but it definitely works out more often than not. If the RSI trend breaks higher, price will typically end up moving higher as well. So we're just starting to break this 1 hour RSI trend here. If it does break, then I'll expect it to move back up to oversold territory, which will be when I would like to sell. So you're kind of tracking more RSI more so than price, but we have our target of 30.8 up here on a really good trade. And if that does happen, I would expect RSI to move, into the 60, 50, high 50s, 60 range, which would be perfect for me to close a trade of that status. So something I'm looking at for there. Definitely more prefer Bitcoin than Ethereum right now, but just for full view, let's check out ETH-BTC. ETH-BTC did kind of complete that deviation. Oops, don't want. What am I doing? Okay, here we go. So we don't want. We got to get rid of that. So ETH-BTC kind of completed this deviation here. So definitely watch out for ETH, although I prefer Bitcoin right now. I don't want to deal with that. But deviation's good. Obviously holding these lows, need to continue to hold these lows, and then you can move back up here. But considering we have this really ugly wick here, until we break back above 0.65, that's when I want to really trade ETH, is a break back above here. Any rejection in this area right here, I don't want any part of. So I will say ETH-BTC possibly gearing up for a nice little run. But it still needs to hold this level, and I think it needs to break above this level before I really start diving in. So that is the outlook for today. So good luck, happy trading, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you very much also to those individuals in the comment section. Shout out Market Rebellion, shout out Monty. Appreciate you watching and commenting. And Ryan Larson, yes, as Monty said in the comment section, they will also be doing daily shows as they used to with Market Rebellion. So we appreciate everybody tuning in, and hope this helps everyone with some of their trading. I'm not a giga bull. I'm not a giga bear. I'm just trading the range that we've been given right now. And of course, as we said in the TTC community, we talked about the range this morning. 31K is the high, 29.5K is the low. Any violent, moves lower, that still results in higher lows, I'm going to long. And any rejections at the recent highs, around that 31K level, I'm going to short. So, that's range trading. Until we see a breakout, we'll trade that breakout, or until we see a breakout, we trade the range. If we do get a breakout, we trade the breakout. So good luck, happy trading. See everybody tomorrow.